Hello, good afternoon. Santiago Calderon with my engineer, Mr. Rodney. As promised on my Patreon page, I did indicate that I would keep teaching slide and open G tuning. Today we're going to learn some really handy, usable grooves to play songs to or to write to, and some cool chords and a few licks. And let's just start with the intro from Crossroads, the way Robert Johnson really played it. He certainly didn't play it the way Cream did, but it goes like this. It's in sets of triplets against. Good example of why you need to mute. Did you hear that? Okay, so it's. Okay, on this turnaround, use your middle finger. 3-2 open on the D string, and then Son House would have played that like this. And I don't know who I stole this one from. Maybe Slim Harpo. No, wrong guy. There's a nice harmonized one that I use a lot, and there's a bunch of them up the neck, which we will get to. Okay, let's get into some grooves. There's one that I always lean on when I'm in a position where it's possible I could get lost, like I'm sitting in with somebody, and that's this one. Now, well, we'll go over the technique involved, which is a lot more than it looks, than it appears. And it goes like this. And you know, extrapolate, the D changes up here off this F note. So now what's important about that is listen to the phrasing. That was exaggerated, and I also tilted my slide, which made it out of tune. I have really good ear. So I'm dragging, I'm sorry. Dragging into that G, and then I'm pick blocking to kill it. Otherwise, it would sound terrible. They would bleed into one another. And I'm also doing kind of the Slim Harpo hip shake mute with my. This is called damping. On the other hand, though. Okay, enough of that one. There's always the old standby shuffle that somebody should be a bazillionaire for coming up with. I don't know where this came from. But it's this one. Everybody in the world knows it. But it's here with your G and D strings. And you're just coming down on the D string with your first finger, your index. 4-chord. You can mix them up. All right, that's kind of a Rory Block-esque thing. I know her a little bit. I worked with her someplace in Milwaukee, and what a monster guitar player she is. Check out her recordings. Okay, here's another more kind of a Memphis sort of groove. I kind of wrote my song Continental Boogie to this groove. Now, bear in mind, you can take any of these and switch the timing, switch the phrasing, switch the tempo, the meter, whatever you want to do, the emphasis on which, whatever. Switch your damping, experiment, extrapolate, improvise. and you'll come up with your own variations. You don't want to sound like me. You want to sound like you. So which one am I doing now? For purposes of brevity, I'm going to presume that you can find the 4 and the 5. But what's important about this particular vamp or groove is the blocking. That's exactly what I'm doing with my right hand. Gotta kill that extraneous noise. I keep stressing that, but it's the difference between the men and the boys and slide players. Ladies and gentlemen, make that gender neutral. There's a zillion more of them, but we're going to move on to some interesting chords. So this is open G tuning. That's a G chord. So it's real hip if you look on the internet, on YouTube. Everybody's teaching triads for some reason these days. I also subscribe to that. Here's a great little G major triad. You hinge bar the top 2 strings just like an F chord, and then you finger the 3rd string on the 4th fret, and don't forget that all important bass. Remember, you're playing by yourself. So, now this, if you saw me add my finger here on the 5th string, that's makes it a 7th chord. So this would be a D7. That's a D major 7 actually, but we're not going there. What I showed you is a D7. And so is this. It's just it's 3 strings in a row, 5, 6, and 7 on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th strings. So that's a great D chord. Flip it upside down. 1, 5th string, 2, 6th fret rather, 3 on the 7th fret. This is a G chord, which is the 5 chord in the key of G, or the other way around. D is a 5 chord in the key of G. This is starting to make a lot of sense. Open G tuning is, David Hidalgo from Los Lobos calls it the queen of all tunings. You want to put some banjo rolls in it like that, or, you know, phrase it any way you want. Sometimes I just brush it with one finger. It's all about mood. Blues is about feeling. I subscribe to that. It's not a cliche. Here's another G7 chord. You have your pointer finger, your first finger, your index, whatever you call it. On the 8th fret, your middle finger on the 1st string of the 9th fret, and your ring finger on the 10th fret of the 3rd string, or 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can never decide whether they go 1 to 6 this way or 1 to 6 that way, but here's how you finger it. I'll give you an example of the fingering. Now here's a... C chord, okay? Flip it to putting leave your pointer finger here, flip it so your middle finger is on the 1st fret of the second fret of the 1st string, and finger with your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this from now on. And use your G for a bass. Okay, so subsequently, This is a D7 chord. See, I didn't mute that time. Did you see how loud that turnaround was? Instead of... Let's see. Chords. Everybody knows that that's a G chord. Don't do clown vibratos. Don't ever shake the bar or roll the bar ahead of this fret. This is C, otherwise you're getting into D flat, and it sounds ridiculous, like in, so listen to how silly this sounds. That's what I'm talking about. I call those clown vibratos. Let's see, more chords. Let's do some behind the slide chords. Okay, dig. Now, this is as I mentioned, that's a real genuine A minor chord like you'd play on a 6-string in standard tuning. That's because I keep harping on this. These 3 strings are the same as they are in standard tuning. You lower the bottom string, the 5th string, and the 6th string, or the 1st string rather. I figured out which order they go in now. So, okay, so dig. Real hard to make vibrato on a chord that you have fingered a note behind the slide. It's a little more limited because if you get carried away, you're going to push this flatted 3rd into the major 3rd. Well, I'm sorry, that would be the major 3rd. It doesn't matter. I think that's about enough for today. That's plenty to chew on. And you notice I like... That's just a blatant ripoff of Roy Rogers, not the cowboy, the slide player. Check him out if you're not hip to Roy Rogers. He is the king of hammer-on and pull-offs. He does stuff over the top of the neck. He's crazy. Used to be John Lee Hooker's guitar player. At any rate, we'll be back. As promised, I'm going to teach you monotonic, steady bass to the melody of House of the Rising Sun. And then I'm going to play all 4 verses, stanzas, whatever you want to call them, parts of Joy, and see if we can break down some. That's pretty complicated. It gets into some banjo rolls with alternating tuning and stuff, but I will at least show you and give you something to work on. So that's it for now. I'm going to need my engineer Rodney's help for a minute. Speaking of Rodney, if you need any computer work done, IT work, audiovisual stuff, recycling, tree removal. I mean, the cat he's amazing. He does everything, and he's one sharp cookie. Very reasonable, too. And he's also recording all of this stuff with me. So God bless you. Thank you very much for keeping coming back. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell your ex-wife. I'm out of here for now, but we'll be back this afternoon. Santiago Calderon saying adios. Ciao. Later. Bye-bye. Come see me again. Bye-bye.